can you reach the 10-year ILR point just using student visas and graduate visas? In other words, after 10 years of lawful residence in the state, you can qualify for indefinite leave to remain. But can you use it just using these two categories? Well, I'm going to show you using this diagram, which shows you the relevant maximums, and this diagram, which will give you some examples of how it can be done. Now, the starting point is that you cannot have more than one graduate visa. And this is the relevant bit of legislation confirming that. So you cannot, let's say, do an undergraduate visa and then, an undergraduate degree with a student visa, then do the graduate visa, and then do a master's degree, and then get a second graduate visa. In other words, you can only use the graduate visa one time. But you can be granted many student visas back to back, and this can be used to get you to the 10-year point. So with or without, in fact, the graduate visa. So I'll show you some examples in a minute. There are limits, though, for the different component parts within this overall 10-year period. And again, I'll show you in this diagram now. So the relevant maximums are here. So different maximums, so effectively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maximums you've got to be aware of, 6 limits. So the first one is for pre-sessional courses. So in practical terms, the maximum is 5 months, but you can have a period before, so 1 month before the course and then 1 month after the course. Then for a full-time course below degree level, you can have a 2-year course. That's the maximum, 2 years. But again, bear in mind, you can have 1 month before the course and 4 months after the course. And that, again, could be taken into account for calculating your lawful residence. And then the next maximum is 5 years. So that's for a full-time course at degree level. So it's a 5-year maximum. Bear in mind, though, that you can have 1 month before the course and 4 months after the course. That, again, would be taken into account in calculating the 10 years. Then after that, for a full-time or part-time course above degree level, there's no limit. So you could continue extending a PhD, for example, subject to showing progress. You could continue extending that indefinitely. There might be some practical limits to this, of course, depending on whether your professor is willing to oblige. Then the next maximum is for the graduate visa, that's 2 years. And the one after that is 3 years if the graduate visa is following a PhD. So how can we combine those different parts into 10 years? Let's have a look at some examples. So in this first example, we have this lady doing a 1-year diploma, then a 3-year bachelor's degree, followed by a 1-year master's degree, then a 3-year PhD, then after that, a 3-year graduate visa. So that would get her to the 10-year point. Now, bear in mind, in each of these examples, the 10-year timeline starts in the academic year, so that's represented accordingly. But in each case, the person gets to 10 years or more. Then a second scenario for qualifying for indefinite leave to remain just using the student visa and the graduate visa would be this: a pre-sessional course, followed by a 5-year bachelor's degree, then a 2-year work placement, then, and I say work placement as part of the course, then a 1-year master's degree, and then you qualify for indefinite leave to remain in your 2-year graduate visa. So again, another way of combining these routes to get ILR under the 10-year pathway. Then the third example is a bit less typical, but you could do a 4-year bachelor's degree followed by 2 years as a student union sabbatical officer. Then you could do 1 master's degree, then a second master's degree, then you could do a 2-year graduate degree, a 2-year graduate visa. And that way, again, you could get to the 10-year point. So a bit less typical. I mean, you'd need to show progress on your master's and actually be accepted by 2 different institutions. Perhaps it's the same institution for master's degrees, but nonetheless, that's a way of doing it. There are, in fact, additional ways of doing this. Those are three combinations, though, that would get you to the 10-year point. So as long as you bear in mind those individual maximums within the overall period, and bear in mind that you can't do the graduate visa twice, then this is certainly a viable route to ILR. I hope that's helpful. If you want help, I have a consultation service. I'd be very pleased to help you. Bye for now.